Spider-Man Homecoming, no spoilers. I didn't really like it. Everyone seems to like it. I didn't really seem to like it. It has two really good things going for it. One is the lead guy, Tom Holland. He's incredibly charming. He's such a find. He's funny. He's sweet. He's likable. He sort of looks interesting. He's sort of cute and handsome in a kind of different kind of way, maybe because he's British. I don't know. And it's really funny. It is genuinely laugh out loud, witty. It did actually make me laugh, which is good. But it really suffers from that thing that all Spider-Man movies have, which is once he becomes Spider-Man, it's really boring. He's just a CGI sprite kind of jumping around everywhere, and who cares? It could be an action sequence from any of the Spider-Man films. The whole last 20 minutes, no spoilers, it could be ported into the first one or the second one or the third one. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I'm not convinced any of the actors who you're interested in actually take part in those action sequences. They're essentially just animations. Marvel seem to have this thing where they're like, we're making the movie now, therefore you'll like it more because it's a bit like the other movies, which is interesting. It has a kind of a sheen and a kind of production value which I suppose you associate with Marvel, but it also has a kind of bland, homogenous kind of vibe, which comes with Marvel as well. So it doesn't feel particularly adventurous. Everyone seems very taken with the kind of the sweet romanticism of the lead and his relationship with other people, but actually his relationship with the lead girl is quite regressive, I thought. It doesn't have as much depth as the Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone stuff did in the previous two, and they were quite sweet together and you believed them, and Emma Stone felt like she existed as a character with her lovely big eyes and her hair and all that stuff. Or even like the Kirsten Dunst, Tobey Maguire, I'm wearing a wet t-shirt, kiss me upside down stuff. The film was a lot more invested in that relationship than this new one is. We're very much back to he's a geek staring at an unobtainable girl from afar who also happens to be into geek stuff and does eventually love him, and etc, etc, etc. So all that felt like it wasn't really moving on the Spider-Man franchise at all for me. They cast a fascinating, interesting, exciting actor in Michael Keaton as the villain, but there's no sense of wonder in terms of how the villain turns up. His plan is kind of, again, people talk about it being more three-dimensional and that he has some kind of motivation. He does have a pretty basic motivation. He likes to nick stuff because he's working class and angry. But I'd prefer that the villain had like big arms, really, that he was trying to grab people with. That's more exciting than having some, wings and a furry coat. That doesn't really go anywhere, and you feel like the film doesn't dare make any big choices about what happens to any of those people because they might need to come back for the sequels, or we might have to watch 5 different bits during the credits sequence before we can go home because that might be 7 other sequels that are spinning off. And overall, it contributes to this feeling that you get, with The Force Awakens or with Terminator Genesis or with, the Beauty and the Beast remake or with Jurassic World, that essentially we're just being sold the stuff that we already liked, but having it sold back to us in slightly repackaged form, which this ultimately is. I don't think it's nearly as different as people are making it out to be. It's a bit more colourful. The poster's sort of yellow rather than red and blue, but really that's about it. Perhaps people are a bit down on the Andrew Garfield films now for some reason, and some of them were awful and the villains were awful, but he had lovely hair and I kind of liked him. I don't know why people are so down on it, but the new one has potential. He's charming, he's wonderful, he's a find. Maybe there's somewhere they can go with this which is more interesting than the other generic Spider-Man sequels or the 7 sequels that they failed to make off the back of the Andrew Garfield stuff. I'm not sure, but really it isn't much different to the other films. It certainly isn't any more progressive than the other films. It's funnier than the other films, and maybe he's a natural born Spider-Man, but that's about it. There's not a lot to write home, not a lot to write home about in there. So yeah, it's fun, but it passes quickly and doesn't leave much of an impact, so I'm not entirely sure what all the fuss is about. It's more fun than Doctor Strange or Thor 10 or whatever the last one was, but nevertheless, it ain't all that exciting.